Well, greetings and welcome, my radiant League of Eagles. I'm Joy Ruffin, your Minister of Enlightenment, Awareness, and Awakenings, and your signature style and leadership specialist. Welcome to Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. This month, we're going to be talking about you. It's a season of joy and thanks, but we're asking you to celebrate you because grace, gratitude, and growth never goes out of style. You know how we put in that word style? Well, it's a big part of our league here. Today's featured guest speaker comes to you with a topic that's going to ignite and inspire you in so many ways. I'm also inviting you to look into my Style Clarity Bundle. And I'll be putting up a graphic for you to take the screenshot and snapshot later so that you can take a look at it. My League of Eagles, I want you to spread your wings. I want you to open your heart, and I want us to soar into this powerful season and this conversation that we're going to have today together. Now, I'd like to share a little bit with you about, and I'm not going to belabor it because this woman's background intrigues me, because financial security and all that it entails, knowledge and awareness, is not most of us. It's not our wheelhouse. But this lady comes to us with a lot of information. So all you have to do is just sit back and relax and enjoy. But before I bring her up, let me share a little bit about you. Now, one of the things I'm going to do, I'm always tweaking and changing. You know that, right? Her name is Kathy. You know I have a hard time with the last names. Cuevas, I think it is. And if not, I'll ask her to pronounce it when she comes up. Kathy has a fascinating background. She is the founder of Financial Freedom Pathway and a financial coach on a mission to help women break free from financial stress. Now, that's a biggie. And that's going on and on and on with all the ways that we can do that. I'm including myself. So all you have to do, my League of Eagles, and you know I label you my League of Eagles for a reason, because we are not for any, every, and all. We're for the new examples of leadership, especially the divine feminine. So what I want you to do is just sit back and help me welcome our featured guest speaker. Kathy, as they say on the telly, come on up.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much. That was an awesome welcoming.
Well, thank you. It's all well deserved because I know the brilliant work that you're doing and I'm in awe of it. And I don't put anybody on a pedestal and I don't put a tiara on anyone, but I do applaud and celebrate those who are doing great work. So before we get going, Kathy, you know I have a hard time. Everybody does. Whatever the reasons are, I just ride over it. Pronounce your last name for us.
Cuevas.
Wow. Woohoo. I'm still working with it. But tell us a little bit about how you came to do this phenomenal, fantastic, brilliant work that you're doing. Give us a little bit of a background about how you came to do it, and then we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of it.
I think the only way to explain it is because I've been through it. I started off with great financial difficulties after my first divorce and struggled through life for almost 10 years. And through that struggle, I learned a lot, budgeting and saving and everything else that I never did before. So that was my turnaround, and which led me to today. And then actually part of my teaching career, I taught personal finance to high school year-long courses for the last 13 years before I retired. Excuse me. So it just kind of, it wasn't a plan to do this. It just happened along the way. And as I was going through my struggle, I found I was able to help friends going through similar part of all the things I was experiencing, going through divorce or maybe raising kids or things like that when the kids get in trouble. So a lot of it was just falling into, but it was good. I think it's a real blessing to me now to be able to still help others go through the mess I went through and get through faster or hopefully avoid it.
I love that, Kathy. And I love this because you use a word that's, maybe I always go off the rails because that word struggle, I think you said 10 years of struggling. Yeah. I think that struggle and that hard work, so many of the generations now and my generation and 10, 20 ahead have put aside the struggle and any and everything that you want to gain wisdom, power, knowledge over, you have to put in the work. And you did that. And I celebrate you for that because I know it wasn't easy because my sister and I come from a home where my mother worked 3 jobs to give my sister and I a lot of things that we needed that she didn't have. So I get it. Give us a little bit about from rock bottom to financial freedom, your story. I love this, robbing Peter to pay Paul. My mother used to say that all the time. Give us a bit more of a background about that.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. I mean, as an adult, it's hard to budget, and sometimes you have to spend things either because the cost of something went up or something else creeped up on you that you got to take money from someplace else who's allotted to pay something else. And in my case, it was things like my oldest daughter was always very athletic. When they were little girls and I was still married, they were in t-ball. But when we got to high school, we were divorced. Actually, their father had died by this time. But I, as still being single, was struggling to keep up with it. And I basically couldn't afford her warm-up jacket, that she wears after swim teams and things like that. Or there's always the $15 field trip permission slip, or things like that. And it just takes a real physical toll on you. So it was tough. So I would take from the grocery bill, or probably mainly the house, what I was saving for the house payment, getting only paid once a month. I would take from that to pay these little things along the way. Then my next house payment might be a little bit late. So that's my robbing Peter to pay Paul.
I think that's a common expression because my mom's used it all the time to my sister and I, regardless of what was needed and what we needed and what she needed to take from something to be able to do this, that, and the other. So I love that expression. And most everyone is aware of it. You mentioned a single mom. Tell us how that single mom came about, and single mom and divorce, and how that has played into, you alluded to it, but give us more specifics about how you utilize that single mom divorcee to get to this financial freedom that you have today.
I don't know that I would say I used it to get where I'm at. I just had to go through it. And then where I'm at kind of became what it became. I like that. Just going through being single, raising the kids, struggling financially. Eventually down the road, as I was a little bit farther along, I had friends that would go through the same thing and say, hey, I'm going through this. What did you do? And I would tell them, this is what I did. Or I'd pick bottles and cans, or I'd cut coupons back in the day when there's coupons were in every Sunday paper. That's the only paper I bought was Sunday paper, just for the coupons. So I looked at all these things, and I helped people out of just the passion to not make them suffer as much as I had to suffer. It was through death of my first spouse and divorce that was the same person. So it was tough. It was challenging. Let's put it that way. That was probably the most challenging time in my entire life, is trying to raise these 2 girls that were almost in middle school at that time, not having the income to do so after the divorce. So it was very hard, very dark times.
I'm sure it's heartbreaking because when you have kids and they want and desire things that you, for whatever the reasons are, can't afford for them right then and there, it has to be painful in many ways. So I get that. And you got through it though, with the coupons. I don't know when coupons became so popular, but what is it about coupons? Saving, right?
Well, it's saving. I mean, they were always in the Sunday paper, so that's the only one I bought, and it was always more expensive paper, but at 75 cents back in the day, I don't know what it costs now, that 75 cents got me over, sometimes up to $5 a coupon, so it was money worth it that I saved off when I buy the girls' cereal, or I buy certain things on sale with the coupons to make my money go even farther. So I learned so many money tricks along the way that I passed those on to my friends and whoever, wanted help and wanted to hear.
And you know what you shared with me, Kathy, that I'd love it if you could speak to this a wee bit, because I think a lot of women out there, and men, they need to hear this. You said that you were working on a salary of $30,000 as a teacher a year, and that wasn't cutting it for you. And this was somewhat back in the day. So how can you share with us how you really began to realize that you had to gain your financial freedom?
Well, back then I also didn't have any money in savings. I think I might have had, if I scraped by, maybe $1,000. So that's like nothing. And back then my house payment was more than my take-home pay. So it was tough without the financial support from my husband, court-ordered support. It was difficult. And then even though the court ordered it, he would quit his job. I would then get nothing. The game got played back and forth. So I was dealing with 2 different budgets, one with support and one without support. And it was just seemed like a cycle that I could never get through. And I ended up being I'm the village inside versus it takes a village to raise a child. I was my only village. Yes, my mother did help babysit, which saved me money, and the girls were in church and things. But to deal with all of life's things I had to deal with as a single mom, I was the village, and that was even more hard. So I taught them when they were young about budgeting. Like you just mentioned, parents want to give their kids things. Well, yes. I grew up very poor, so I didn't have a lot of things, and I didn't feel like I was missing anything because I had love and I had food and I had clothes. But fast forward every generation, they seem to want more and expect more from their parents. And not that my girls were like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it that way, but sometimes they would ask me for something in between, or we would get near Christmas. I say, go ask your dad for the money. I'm tapped out. So that time I didn't want them to think I was just lying to them. So I actually gave them the checkbook, and I had them, this is back before automated payments and stuff. I actually had them sit down and fill out the checks, and I would sign them. And I said, you have to leave $200 in the checking account for the rest of the month. And I get paid once a month on the 1st. So that $200 lasted the rest of the month for the bills that came in later: electricity, water, gas, trash, plus groceries. So, I mean, that obviously $200 wouldn't buy you much now, but back then that was all I had. So when they would ask for something, I go see how much is left in the checkbook. And they learned how to do that. And each girl took one turn each month. One did it and the other one did it the next month. They wrote every single check so they knew where the money was going and what actually came in. So I taught them young how to do that, how to understand a budget, even though they were probably too young, but they knew that there's only so much money. I can't print it like Monopoly. I can't go take it from the bank.
Kathy, you don't realize, I don't think, yet I hope that you do, the brilliance that you just shared with all of us. Because when you said that you taught your daughters how to budget and use the checkbook, that financial literacy is what's major. And I don't think back in the day, and even today, somewhat, it's taught enough that kids can understand how to budget and utilize monies. So that in itself was great. How did the girls take to that? What was their attitude about learning how to budget and do the check and all of that?
I don't know if it was the point of teaching them. It was just the point to know that I can't buy you something if there's money I don't have. So the point was to show them, or teach them, as you want to look at it that way, how much money I was getting, including the support checks when they did come in, how much I had to make the bills go every month. So that was probably the hugest lesson. So whether they realized it or not, I guess as an adult too, in their future life, my oldest one followed it. My youngest one has still being supported by me at 39 years old because she can't stand on her own 2 feet. But it was a lesson for them both to know that you can't spend what you don't have. I mean, I put as little as I could on credit card bills, and I got up to $7,000 of credit card debt. And that was mostly just for food, groceries, and just to put clothes on their back. You know, we didn't have anything at all extravagant. I didn't even have money to put in a savings account. I literally could not save. And that was one of the first mistakes I knew that I should have, even if it was like $10, which happened a little bit later on after I got a couple of raises to start putting in my retirement.
Wow. I don't know why. I heard the difference between one daughter being able to utilize what you gave them and taught them, and the other not being able to. I think that's another saga, another conversation. But I do think that you said it wasn't so much the teaching, but I think it is the teaching of an individual, and everybody always takes to everything differently. So I don't know about that, but I love that analysis that you gave us. How does an Excel spreadsheet moment tie into all of this?
That's probably where I started learning to budget my money better. When you actually write down, not just the checkbook, because I usually don't ever carry cash. And to this day, I still don't care about maybe $5 in my wallet. I do not like to have cash on me. So almost everything I did was either on credit card or a checkbook. But sometimes you don't see what goes on the credit card, like the groceries, because I didn't write checks in the grocery store, that the spreadsheet showed me where my money was going. It showed my paycheck, actually my actual take home in my hand, what I have to spend, and where I had to apply it. And that's how I knew that my take home didn't even make my house payment. And it wasn't an expensive house payment. Don't get me wrong. It's just when you're a 2 income family and you're all of a sudden down to one income, not even one and a half, not even one and a fraction with the support I was supposed to get, it made things really difficult. But that spreadsheet really woke up my eyes. It showed me where I could start cutting back in certain things, and maybe instead of just buy what we needed for groceries, look at how to use what was in my pantry. Let it go bare if it had to, but use up stuff. Don't let anything go bad. Every dollar gets a job in this system, especially with a spreadsheet. If you have money left over, then it has to go to savings, as far as I was concerned back then, because there was no, oh, let's go buy ice cream because I got extra money this week. It doesn't do that. And this works for anybody, because you choose where your money goes. You choose what's a priority. And this is how I work with my clients. What is important to you, we'll work about taking a little bit from the rest of it, but you keep what's most important for you. So for me, it was obviously groceries, and maybe one thing the girls, maybe they wanted to buy lunch one day that month in school, or maybe, sports came up, new season, they had to buy a new uniform or something. So it's not that I was budgeting for it because it got sprung on me. She never was in sports. She just all of a sudden got in sports. So these are the things that creeps up like a car breaking down or something. It's not expected, but it's bound to happen sooner or later. You just have to plan for it. But I didn't even have money to plan for it.
What prompted you to use an Excel sheet as opposed to all the other means and ways that you could have kept your budget or your outline of what you were spending and all of that? What was the Excel moment that came to you?
Well, you got to think, back in the day, there was no cell phones. There was no apps. There was no, a lot of what people have to, there was no, I don't even know if there was computers back. Oh, after had to be, because I had an Excel spreadsheet. But computers were not the knowledge base that they are now. Programs were on floppy disks. And Excel and Word, the Microsoft Office was one of the biggest ones. And being a new teacher, I taught computers my first classes, how to use them, how to keyboard, how to type, and so forth. So I was just really good at using spreadsheets. I created my own formulas for grading programs, because there's no grading programs, things like that. So it was the only thing I had available to me.
Wow.
Other than pen and paper.
Yes. Well, I think that the whole saga of what you are doing and how you've come to be about so proficient at it is a whole new saga. What I'm going to do now is take a quick little reset, and I'm going to introduce a few things, and then I'll be back to you. When I come back, I want you to talk a little bit more, not to denigrate in any way a teacher's salary, but I want to go deeper into a teacher's salary or any salary in that range, and how one has to learn to utilize it in the best way. And I'm also going to ask you, when you go into the green room, when you come back, make sure that you're not touching and moving anything, because I'm hearing some noise coming through from somewhere, but we'll work through that. In the meantime, while you're being put away in the green room, I'm going to introduce you to my Facebook group, Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. You shine, you lead, and you leave behind a legacy. I don't care if you think that you have no legacy, or what is a legacy and why do I need a legacy. We're talking to the new examples of leadership here, and especially divine femininity. So remember that your vision, your mission, and your purpose, it matters. So I'd love it if you would join the group. Not only join the group, participate, collaborate. There's so many ladies there who are doing more or less the same or different, that it would behoove you not to connect with them. And then, the next goodie on the agenda. I'd love it if you would come and join my YouTube channel. Connect with me every week. It's Joy Ruffin, fashioning femininity, style, and truth. Take a screenshot and a snapshot of every graphic that we put up here for you. And every week, I'll be coming to you with all different types of topics and subjects that are all about you and your leadership, head to toe, top to bottom, hair to shoes. Because if you're in leadership, everything matters. We're not talking about perfect. There is no perfect. And then the Style Clarity Bundle. The beauty of this is that you're going to do a one-on-one with me. I'm not judgmental. I don't throw shade, but I am a realist. And I do want you to own your power, your radiance, and your style, your signature style. And if you're open and willing, I'm going to give you more nuggets and tools than you could ever imagine just in the one-on-one. And then you have options that you could choose from. Now, that said, Kathy, her story mesmerizes me. It fascinates me because her story, my mom And my sister and I went through more or less the same kind of thing. So I really applaud and celebrate her. And you will be doing the same. Take a screenshot, take a snapshot. Her email is here. And then in turn, when we scroll across, you'll get her website so that you can connect with her. You email her your full name and ask for this offer. And then you heard from her. Oh, I think we misspelled about it. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but I am. Anyway, this is a person that you want to connect with because her story is a story that is all about the reality of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Now, Kathy, let's talk a little bit about teachers' salary and the truth of that.
Well, the hard part is the first time in my life, I had to adjust to only one paycheck a month. Typically, when I was working part-time through college, grocery store, I got paid weekly. Another job, I got paid every other week. So it's different. But teacher, once a month, and you have to know how to save it and make it stretch for the entire month. So that's probably the first hardest part. Even no matter, how do I put this? Back in the day, I was making $30,000. I think, I don't even know if that's my starting pay, if it was even that much or not. Today, I think starting teachers make closer to $50,000. That doesn't matter because cost of things now are a lot more than they were back then. My last mortgage was more than my mortgage way back in the day in the 70s or 80s, whatever, 80s, I guess it was. So it's just relevant. And then you have so much taken out of it. You're forced to pay for union dues. You're forced to pay for teachers retirement. So you don't get a whole lot out of your paycheck. That's what makes it so difficult. But as I got raises, I was able to actually entertain one of the people that came to our school and sat in the lounge for us during our lunch break for us to find out about investing in the future. And that's when I started. And all I gave him was $10 a month. That's all. I literally couldn't spare any more, seriously, when I was struggling so bad. So $10 a month, that was probably almost my first year, $10 a month. So I had like barely $100 and some after 1 year. That's not much of a retirement account. But then if you fast forward a little bit, another guy came, I gave his company 25. So I got $10 here, 25 here. Another guy had 50. And then I had another financial crisis. I had to combine them all and take a withdrawal, which is not recommended, but the only option I had because there was no savings yet, and then so forth. But when I retired, I was making, I think, six figures, barely six figures at this time. And I was able to save 50 to 60% of my income, still leaving as freaking frugally as I was before, not spending a lot while I was still working, just to stash it all away to have a nice retirement and be able to retire early. So teachers or any job, you just have to be able to live from paycheck to paycheck, whether that paycheck is every other week, every week, or once a month. It just made it hard. But consistency is the most important thing, especially when it comes to savings.
I completely agree with you. And I like what you said about that applies to any job, because how you learn to save and utilize your money in the best way, whatever the amount is per month, if it's $1 a month, it doesn't matter, but it's getting in the habit and being consistent with that is what you're saying. And I think that applies to any job and anything that you're doing. It absolutely amazes me that so many of us, all of us in different realms and regions and so on, just did not get the financial literacy learning, and we do it through the struggle and the challenges that come before us. Who gave you, and how did you come to know that you had to start saving and doing something? Who ignited that knowing within you? How did that come to you?
I don't know if it was anybody in particular. I do remember my cousin, though, telling me before my daughters were each turning 18 that she told me that the child support, but by this time it was Social Security because he had passed away. That's going to end when they turn 18. You need to start planning now. And this was like maybe a year or two at the most before my oldest one turned 18 and was out of high school. So I think that started me thinking, hey, I need to start saving. That's where I think I started to actually save. And once I was getting the Social Security checks, which was a lot more, and I mean a lot more than the support checks were, I was able to pay off that $7,000 credit card debt and then start to put a lot more in my savings account. But I think the best takeaway I can give any listener is that you can do this week is get my spreadsheet. You showed the graphic earlier. Start. You have to know where your money is going. So start there, get my budget sheet, learn where your money is going, because people don't really, it just flies like wings out the back door. You don't know where it went. So easy.
Absolutely. Tell me this, your financial coaching and teaching now, others, men and women, predominantly women, I'm sure. I'm not even asking, I kind of know that. What do you find are the 1, 2, 3 areas of financial accuracy, learning, literacy that you find most are in need of? I think you've already mentioned a couple of things. Savings is one, but what else do you find that they really are, and this word, I don't use it as a negative, are really ignorant about, just have no clue about? Because I could put myself in that ballpark in some ways. Yeah.
I think just like me is not knowing where your money's going. That's the most blatant thing that people come to me, that I just don't know where my paycheck goes. I have all this money, but even people that are making $100,000, I don't know where my money goes. Well, it's going somewhere. They just don't know because they don't track it. It's so important to know where it goes. And that will help you. Instead of your money disappearing, you're now going to tell it where to go. So instead of calling it a budget sheet, actually, when I was teaching school, I told them to call it a spending plan, because who doesn't like to spend money, right?
I like that.
You spend money where you like to spend it. So you spend, I like my house. Okay, I'll spend it on my house payment. I like this, I'll spend it here, but you choose where it goes. And when you actually see it on that spreadsheet, because I love spreadsheets and computers, you actually see, because you can easily fudge and move the numbers, say, well, what's more important to me? Where should my money go? What do I vote for? I have to vote for my dollars to go pay for something. Where do I want that vote to go for? And hopefully by the time I educate my things, like you mentioned, savings and retirement are the next 2 biggest things.
Yes.
People aren't saving. They're ignorant. They're like bliss, like paycheck to paycheck is happy, but that paycheck to paycheck has to include part of his savings as part of that paycheck to paycheck.
Ooh, I like that. And you mentioned something there. Say it again. You said it's not so much an Excel sheet, or it's a tracking sheet, and you call it a spending something. What do you name it?
A spending plan.
A spending plan. That makes sense.
Plan where to spend your. Who doesn't like to spend money, Joy?
I don't know anyone, Kathy. I really don't.
Even if you don't have the money you like to spend, so it's called a spending plan, because you're telling your money where to go instead of it just running out the back door without your knowledge.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think the number one thing that you said here that many will take away as the big takeaway is that knowing how to track and know where your money is going. That's what's major. It's however you save, or the retirement, or whatever, however you go about that. It's knowing with certainty where every penny that you have is going and how you're spending it. I think that's major. And so that, you find, is probably the number one thing that you teach the people that you're working with, to know how to be aware of where every penny is going.
Yeah. That's huge. That's key.
Yeah. It is. I can feel that. I can see that already. Good for you. All right. Well, listen, the time goes here. It flies by. I don't know where it went, but it always goes. I say this each and every time because I get caught up in the conversations, and I love learning, and I've learned so much from you. And you know that I adore and love the work that you're doing, and you, because you're such fun. I've never met anyone who's a little bit more talkative than I am. You got me beat. You got me beat. What pearls of wisdom, what takeaway do you want to leave people with? You have given us so much already, and the last part of it, I think, is major. But what else do you want people to know? You can invite them to come and join you on your email and website and so on and so forth. But what else do you want them to know?
Well, definitely go to my website and scroll to the bottom, especially you ladies. I have a weekly newsletter with all kinds of tips on different topics every single week, straight to mailbox on Monday mornings. And you can get that on my website at financialfreedompathway.us. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the biggest takeaway is you have to put yourself first. Even though I was struggling with my kids, even if I just put that $10 in retirement account, I have to start thinking about my future, because you never know, like with my daughters, if they're going to be able to support you like I had to support my mother. Mm-hmm. You don't know their future. So you have to no one cares more about you and your money than you. You need to take care of yourself with it. So please, the biggest takeaway, if you get anything, is you've got to start saving for yourself, whether it be the emergency account or that and a retirement account. That's just the biggest thing, everybody. I would have avoided every mistake I hit had I done those two things, savings account and retirement account.
Got it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that's a brilliant way to end. And thank you, Kathy. So much information. My engineer is going to shoot you into the green room, and I'll be with you in just a second. My League of Eagles, thank you for joining me for another uplifting episode. Remember that my Style Clarity bundle is waiting for you, and you're invited to subscribe at joyruffin.com/Style Clarity. What I'm offering you is a one-on-one and so much information. If you're interested in style, and style is more than how you show up in your appearance, it's any and everything. It's heart and soul connected, and what you believe and how you want to appear. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Joy Ruffin, Fashioning, Femininity, Style, and Truth. You know, style, truth, love, and beauty are the foundations of everything that we do here. And for even more inspiration, don't forget between our talks to add in whatever you want to see more of, hear more of, and so on and so forth. You have a great takeaway from our featured guest speaker today, Kathy. She's leaving you with more than anything, all of it's vital and major. But be aware where every penny, every dollar you're spending, where it's going, so you can be on top of it. And my Eagles, until the next time, keep your spirits soaring, spread your wings wide, and bring that love and good cheer to any and everyone. We are in the holiday season, and don't forget, it's a season of joy and thanks, but your assignment is to celebrate you. In the meantime, I'm sending you always much, much love from my heart to yours, and always all the best. Cheers.